the United States, a gifted thief who grew up alone breaks an important rule. He falls in love.
I'm tired.
Okay, wanna go to the game tomorrow?
Mixing business with pleasure, and now pays the ultimate price for his mistake.
What the hell were you thinking?
Nicky Spurgeon, an expert con man, is having dinner at an expensive restaurant, alone. He gets approached by a small-time named Jess Barnett. She asks him to pretend to be her boyfriend so that she can get rid of the man who was bothering her earlier.
You're not a serial killer, are you?
After having an interesting conversation, one thing led to another, and they went upstairs to get intimate. As they were making out, a man pretending to be Jess's jealous boyfriend barged in with a gun and pointed it at Nicky. When the confident Nicky begged the man to shoot him, Jess knew he was onto them, and their cover was blown. Nicky points out their rookie mistake and leaves after telling them never to lose focus and break the lie. Later, while Jess was walking alone, Nicky sneaks up and startles her. He convinces her to have drinks with him at a restaurant, where he tells her a story of how his father, Bucky, shot his grandfather in a standoff, according to the Toledo panic button tactic, in which one shoots his partner to prove they are not together. After pointing out her inexperience with the story, Jess begs him to tutor her and even offers to pay him with money with a stolen wallet. They go outside and Nicky begins showing her some tricks, calling it a game of focus. He repeatedly steals her ring, watch, and wallet by distracting her with his skillful movements, and Jess never could see it coming each time. Nicky ends the lesson and leaves after stealing the ring one last time and giving her back. Nicky travels to New Orleans and meets Horst, a member of his crew, who shows him the new space equipped with the necessary facilities for their next job. Then, after attending a horse race, Nicky takes a coffee at the Hyatt Hotel, where he meets Jess, who has to track him down diligently. She tells him she knows that he is here for a large operation and tries to impress him by showing him the wallet she stole from him. Nicky doesn't look taken by it, but when he introduced her to Horst, Jess knew Nicky had known all about her efforts to find him. Horst buys her a dress and gives her a test by taking her to a parade with his team of thieves. Jess gets to the hang of things and blends in with the team. She skillfully picks a lot of pockets and impresses both Horst and Nicky. After passing the test successfully, Nicky tells her that she is now officially a part of his operation, making her extremely happy.
Congratulations, you're a criminal.
Okay, what now?
The next day, Nicky takes Jess through a hotel where his team conducts a series of thefts using his destruction. He also shows her different members of the crew, including a skilled mechanic who uses a special contact lens to cheat on a card game, people who con married men, and credit card spoofers. That night, he also takes her to meet Farhad, a tech specialist who takes her to his building of operations, where a lot of his people process the stolen materials and immediately sell everything to avoid getting caught.
Incredible.
Jess is interested to know about the big con, but Nicky tells her they stay safe by stealing a large amount of stuff and profit from it. As the night went on, Nicky and Jess started looking at each other intimately. Nicky sets her up with a new ID, credit card, and a key to a new place of her own. Nicky decides to explore his romantic feelings for Jess and offers to give her a ride to her new place, where they end up spending the night together. After pulling another deceptive and coordinated theft with Farhad and Nicky's crew, Jess joins Nick and his crew for a celebratory drink, where Nicky announces they have just made a record-setting profit of $1.2 million. After partying hard, everyone leaves, and Horst gives the money to Nicky after warning him not to gamble with it. Nicky invites Jess to the football game on the coming day, which she happily accepts, and they spend their time in a hotel room, enjoying themselves.
I'm gonna get some more wine. Do you want some?
At the Super Bowl, Nicky takes her to sit and enjoy the game in the stadium suite. When Jess mentions that she doesn't really like football, Nicky makes up a fun game where they predict the actions of the people inside the stadium. As Jess is beginning to enjoy the game, a gambler named Liun Tse gets in on it and starts to bet money on it. The fun game turns into a series of gambling when Tse begins to make some serious money on it and gambles on the actions of the players. Nicky was about to leave, but Tse kept insisting they keep playing, doubling the amount of bet, so they kept playing, and Nikki, who looked to be very emotional, eventually ended up losing all of the money the crew had earned. Jess decides to intervene and tells Nikki that they are leaving, but he makes one last bet to win it all back. Nikki asks Say to pick any player on or off the field, and has Jess guess the number picked. With all the pressure mounting on her shoulders, Jess scans the field and sees Farhad on the field wearing jersey number 55. She immediately realizes all this is part of another con and calls out the number. They win millions from Say, who is highly impressed and graciously gives Nikki all the money back. Later, after they left the stadium in a limousine, Nikki explains how Say had been programmed in his subconscious to pick the number 55 from the moment he left his hotel room. Nikki's team made sure that he saw the number in the elevator, in the lobby, and even while traveling. Jess is impressed by how it all went down, but Nikki breaks her heart after he tells her that the job is now over and leaves her with his cut. He instructs the driver to take her to the airport, and the confused Jess cries as her limo drives off, and Nikki leaves without saying anything, entering a car that was waiting for him. 3 years later, Nikki goes to Buenos Aires to work for Rafael Garriga, billionaire who owns a motorsport team. He has lunch with Garriga and Owens, Garriga's head of security, who doesn't like Nikki because of his reputation as a con man. At the lunch, Garriga explains that he has a fuel burn algorithm called EXR that will guarantee him a win, but he wants to get rid of his competitor, McEwen, the only competitor standing in the way of his victory. Nikki agrees to pose as a disgruntled team engineer of Garriga, offering to sell the EXR to McEwen, but he will give them a fake algorithm that will just give a false reading to their instruments, misleading the driver enough so that Garriga's team will have a slight advantage. Owens kept asking how he would pull this thing off, but Nikki confidently tells Garriga that he is extremely well researched and everything will proceed according to plan at the kickoff party tonight, where he plans to initiate a fight with Garriga in front of McEwen to appear as if he is at odds with his boss. After preparing himself at his hotel, Nikki arrives at the party as planned and scans the place, filled with a lot of drivers and owners. He goes to the bar and tells the bartender to give him water instead of alcohol when he asks for a martini, mentioning that he is a recovering addict. As the night went on, Nikki started acting like he was a drunk and kept ordering vodka martini. He constantly badmouths Garriga in front of the people there, but his attention gets stolen when Jess walks down the stairs in a gorgeous red dress. Then, she kisses Garriga on the mouth. Nikki gets very jealous and goes to the balcony to gather himself. Jessie comes up to tell him that she is now together with Garriga and nicely asks him to act like he doesn't know her, since Garriga doesn't know about her past life. Nikki wanted to apologize, but Jess thanked him for getting her out of the game. Then, after sitting alone for a while, Nikki, who is now jealous and angry after seeing Jess with Garriga, gets into a fight with Garriga, with everyone watching, and gets dragged out by Owens. After being thrown out of the hotel, a representative of McEwen appeared in front of him and invited him to lunch.
I still got it.
Nikki meets with McEwen as planned, but Jess is also there, wearing a bikini. He keeps getting distracted when he sees her together with Garriga. To prevent McEwen from asking more about his condition, Nikki gets straight to business, and McEwen asks for proof of the EXR, which Nikki agrees to give him. They meet for a demonstration of the racetrack, and McEwen's technician verifies the fake EXR. For a price of $3 million, Nikki promises to provide the complete package of codes, documentation, and analysis in 48 hours. He leaves the meeting after asking McEwen to wait for his call. Then, he tricks Jess, who thought she was coming back to meet Garriga, to come to have a drink with him. She agrees to speak with him, and Nikki tells her that he wants her back, but Jess seductively plays tricks on his emotions and leaves him after telling him that she is not falling for that type of thing. Next, Farhad, who arrives to work with Nikki, talks to Jess and convinces her to give Nikki a chance after presenting her with a necklace that she liked 3 years ago on behalf of Nikki. Jess meets Nikki for a second time, and he apologizes to her. He tells her that he has changed, but she can't bring herself to believe what he is saying, and leaves him. That night, Nikki arrives Jess at his hotel room and finds Jess waiting for him. The two reconcile and spend the night together, but Owens appears at the door in the morning. Nikki tries to get rid of him quickly, but Owens lets himself in and takes a look around the room. Jess sneaks around and manages to find a good hiding place and narrowly avoids being found by Owens. Nick later delivers the real package to McEwen and takes his bag of $3 million, but he doesn't want to stop there. He also sells it to the other teams for a similar amount. He comes back to his hotel with bags of cash and calls for Jess, but she isn't there. Then he gets a text from an unknown person indicating that his cover is blown. After waiting a while, Nikki was about to go out, but he ran into her as soon as he opened the door. Before Nikki and Jess are able to leave the city, Garriga's men stops them by crashing them into a car. They both get taken to Garriga's garage, where they are tied to a chair with their mouths taped.
The real EXR, stolen from my servers, stolen from me.
Despite Nikki's plea to let Jess go, Garriga is convinced that Jess was the one who helped him get access to the EXR, so he begins to suffocate her. To save Jess's life, Nikki confesses that he tricked her into believing he had feelings for her, using the necklace, which had a wireless keylogger that recorded Garriga's login information. He explains that Jess was conned and knew nothing about it. However, after Garriga removes the tape from his mouth, Jess tells Nick that she was never Garriga's boyfriend and never got to his room. She approached Garriga to steal his expensive watch. After arguing with Jess about her still being in petty theft, Nikki promises to come clean about everything in order to save her life. But Owens shoots him in the heart. This causes Garriga to be horrified, and he leaves the garage. Jess cries as blood pours out of Nikki's chest, but Owens reveals himself to be Bucky and assures her that he employed the Toledo panic button tactic, avoiding hitting any major arteries. He draws the blood from Nikki's lungs with a syringe, helping him breathe, and tapes up Nikki's wounds. Bucky then drives them to the hospital and reveals why he left Nikki on the streets. He had a poker deal go bad in Boston, where he had a gun pulled on him. That night, he left to protect his sons and never looked back. Bucky mentions that love will get him killed in the game and leaves with the money to teach Nikki a lesson. After he leaves, Nikki notices that Jess has stolen the $200,000 watch of Garriga and smiles as he walks to the hospital entrance with Jess helping him. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.